It's Yes Network still to come this hour. Next hour, Brad Wachtel, Facts and Bracks, bracketologist. When I tell you nobody gets it more right than Brad Wachtel, I am not lying. Follow him at Brad_Wachtel. He will join us next hour. We will have some Sam Darnold conversation coming up in just a little bit based off of some Mark Sanchez comments earlier today on Get Up and on Greeny. We'll continue on the Knicks for just a few more minutes. And I really, I was talking about Leon Rose and Tibbs at the beginning of the show. I honestly wonder, if you asked Tibbs and you could get him to tell you the truth, what he thinks this team is. Does he think this team is good? Does he think this team is worth keeping intact over the long haul because there are truly great pieces here? I think there are some really good pieces, okay? I think we've seen Quickly can play. I think we'll see him hit a wall at some point. I think R.J. Barrett has grown by leaps and bounds this year, and it's been phenomenal to watch. Randall's been off the charts. But when you are still planning on what you're going to do for the long haul, and first-round picks are the number one currency that there is currently in the NBA, why wouldn't you at least look at what the options are going to be, especially if you start the second half poorly? We talked about this earlier, but it bears mentioning. We know that out of the gate in the second half, the Knicks are on the road for 4. Milwaukee, then Oklahoma City, then they go to Brooklyn, and of course, then they go to Philadelphia. Right after that, okay, before the deadline, which is March 25th, they've got Orlando, okay. Then Philly again, then Washington on the 23rd, and Washington again on the 25th, but the deadline will have passed by the time that second game has come. So you got 7 games before the trade deadline. If you come out of the gate 2-5, because that's very, very fair to think that's going to happen. Are you going to consider it at least? It's not a definite. You don't trade him unless you have something that really you feel great about getting. Unless you can get somebody to overpay for him a little bit, then I think you keep him if you don't like the package. I love Julius Randle the season that he's had, and the fact that the Knicks have him locked up for next year and they don't have to go to a long-term extension yet. And it's going to cost him the same as it will this year, $20 million. Great. But if we're talking about a young point guard and a couple of first-round picks, adding more picks, giving you more currency to work with, Julius Randle will not be worth more in the offseason than he will in and around the trade deadline, than he will this month. It's not definitive that he's going to be traded. And guys like my buddy here, David Yarrow, checking in on the comments over on the Facebook page where the live stream lives, ESPN New York's Facebook page and 98.7's Twitter handle. Julius Randle should not be traded. I think the Knicks are going to come out 3-2. Let's be fair here, David, okay? At Milwaukee, at Oklahoma City, at Brooklyn, at Philadelphia, Orlando. 3-2? 3-2. Maybe 2-3. If things broke right, maybe 2-3. 3-2. Knicks are a good team. Let's just all admit that they're not there yet. And what have we said all along? They're not beating the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference in a playoff series. And they play the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference. They play them 4 times in the first 6 games of the second half. This is my point. Big Ben in the Bronx is next. 98.7 ESPN. Big Ben. Ben! Hi, Ben. Ben! Well, you're gone. Carlin in the Bronx is next. Carlin, go for me. What do you got? Give me something.
What's going on, Carlin? I completely agree with you on your opinion on we don't know about Randall. You know, this is only a half a season where he's playing an all-star caliber, and we don't really know about a lot of these players as well. But we still have a whole second half of the year to see if he can sustain it, and we have another year in his contract left. So there's no rush to make a big hasty decision about Randall by any means necessary.
No, and again, what am I saying here, Colin? If somebody's willing to overpay you to get him, then I have to consider it. Because, again, the long term is what we are dealing with here for the Knicks. And if those, let's just say that you got draft picks from the Sixers, okay? With all the draft picks that you have already, does that not mean that you're going to have a lot to work with? And maybe, just maybe, that next star player that we had earlier in the week, Brian Windhorst talking about in the next year or so, who wants out of their situation and is ready to come to New York, and all of a sudden you have what you need to go get him, then you got to look at it big picture.
Yeah, I agree with you. But it's not just Randall. It's a lot of the other players too that people are considering about trading. It's like you look at Emmanuel Quigley, for example. The Knicks had Landry Fields and Iman Shumpert make first-team All-Rookie team, and everybody was excited about them. But look what happened to them for the rest of their career. I mean, Iman Shumpert turned into an average 3-and-D guy for a little while, but they both became basketball irrelevancy.
Yep.
We don't know with pretty much all of these players on the New York are wild cards at this point. We should finish out this year, unless we get blown away by a trade, which I doubt the Knicks will get blown away by a trade with something so impressive. Rest on our laurels, sit on it. As a realistic Knicks fan, you look at the second half of the year, and it looks pretty daunting. I actually think the Knicks finish under 500. I have them at exactly 30 wins at this year, and they're going to be 30 and 34. 30 and 32. 35.
No, you got them more than 30 wins, because you'd have them at 30 and 42 at that point. You don't have them that bad. Even I don't have them that bad. I mean, I was the one screaming and yelling, Colin, at the beginning of the year that they weren't winning 30 games.
My math was wrong. I meant to say 35 and 37, because I meant to say 2 games under 500.
Gotcha. Okay. Look, thanks for the call. It is not the idea of trading him no matter what. If you get blown away, you discuss it. That's all. If somebody is willing to give you that much, you talk about it. I personally would rather see them go get some help. I personally would rather see them get Oladipo, or let's talk about JJ Redick, somebody like that who could help them. Evan Fournier, somebody who could actually help them, and they could play well enough to get to the 4 or 5 seed and win a series in the playoffs. To me, that is the only way the Knicks are winning a series in the playoffs, is if they get to the 4 or 5 seed. And here's the other thing. The teams that are 7 through 10, like that whole little mini tournament thing, is having its desired effect from keeping teams from tanking. That's what the league wanted, and that's what they're getting. I think that's absolutely fantastic, because more teams are interested in not necessarily playing to the middle, but competing. My problem is just looking at the situation realistically and knowing that I have to build. On the feed, yeah, Dave Yarrow, Dave Rothenberg is better. Well, yeah, of course he is. I know that. Fernando Uribe. I love Chris Carlin. Well, there you go. How about Sean Hardigan checking in with this one? Randall should not be traded. The Knicks aren't there yet, but they are not supposed to be. Maybe we'll get lucky and a star or two will actually want to sign here, and with Randall already here, that's one less piece that we have to find. Let's also understand this about Julius Randle. It better be 2 stars because Randall's not going to be more than the 3rd best player on a championship team. That's just fact. He won't be. And if you think that he will be, you don't know the game. Because as good as he has been this year, the fact that he continues to play the amount of minutes that he does at a career high and has not a ton of support in terms of getting rest in the future and a coach that continues to want to pound you even though he's in amazing shape, all good stuff. You have to realize that at some point offensively, he is going to wear down.
It's Carlin.
Little known fact, I love candles.
On 98.7 ESPN.
Life is hard these days, and everything's just a bit more difficult in general. But some things should be easy, like streaming your favorite radio station, 98.7 ESPN. But just in case you weren't sure how to do that, I, Jim the Voice Guy, will take you through the steps one by one. If you're working from home, piece of cake. The easiest way to stream 98.7 ESPN is to say it out loud. Hey, Alexa, play 98.7 ESPN New York.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining.
Bam, you got us. And if you're more of an app person, head to the ESPN app on your smartphone. Click the More tab in the bottom right corner. Scroll down under the Listen tab and click Live Radio. Then select 98.7 ESPN. Click it and you're good. A friendly public service announcement to remind you that you can hear us anywhere.
With the COVID-19 vaccine reaching more New Yorkers, healing is coming, and hope is on the horizon. And the facts support this hope. The FDA...
David Yarrow. David, I actually don't have a favorite NBA team. So the fact that I'm a fan, I'm just being objective here. Let's see. Angelo, love the show, thanks. David Yarrow, Chris Carlin, you are good, also thanks. But Dave Rothenberg is better. You're right, Dave is better. Trade Knox, Frank, and Obi Toppin for, I'm assuming you mean Victor Oladipo. I think I wouldn't trade Toppin just yet. The scene where Candy plays the air conditioning tech is an underrated scene in Who's Harry Crumb. That from Brendan McCool. Absolutely true. And if I said this earlier, I don't know if I said it to somebody earlier. The scene where Candy is a jockey is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. He's so good.
And if you qualify, you get prescribed online. Visit Bluetooth.com and get your first order free. When you use promo code NYC, all you got to do is pay $5 in shipping and handling. And don't worry, put your swag jack in your Jag, and it is your duty to please that booty.
Raise a glass this St. Patrick's Day with Roe & Co., a premium blended Irish whiskey made from hand-selected stocks of Irish malt and grain whiskeys. Aged in bourbon casks, Roe & Co. offers delicious notes of vanilla, toffee, and spiced orchard fruits. Raise a glass this St. Patrick's Day and celebrate all March long with Roe & Co. Enjoy Roe & Co. neat, on the rocks, or to elevate your Irish coffee. For drink recipes, visit roeandcowhiskey.com and ask for Roe & Co. at your favorite liquor store. Roe & Co. Irish Whiskey. Friends and neighbors with Guinness in Dublin. Please drink responsibly. Roe & Co. Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright.
1 minute. It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
To show you how easy it is to file a claim with Geico, we hired fitness celebrity Billy Blanks.
Okay, everybody, our car just got a broken windshield. How about we blow off some steam? Now punch, now kick.
Mr. Blanks, there's no need to be stressed. Geico makes it easy to file a claim online, on the app, or over the phone.
Yeah, but what if I never hear back? That's going to make me want to go jab and jab.
Okay, jockeys to get him out of the booth.
There for you.
Okay,
that was amazing.
Post-workout protein shake?
Sure, Billy. Geico, great service without all the drama.
Les Miles put on administrative leave by Kansas. Followed that story earlier in the week. LSU, there was some sketchy doings with Coach Miles and some undergrads. I don't know if he was doing anything. Well, he obviously was doing things he shouldn't have been doing, inviting them to his house, apartment, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if he ever assaulted or did anything like that. But he has been put on administrative leave, which pretty much is the first step toward firing him at Kansas. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. Big Ben in the Bronx is back. Where'd you go? You're back. Where were you?
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right.
Listen, let me explain something to you. First of all, Randall is a keeper. You might as well give him an extension and let him stay. But y'all need to go after Zach LaVine out of Chicago because he's dying over there. He's going to burn himself out over there. So you might as well get Zach LaVine to New York for Ntilikina and Kevin Knox in the first-round draft pick and call it a day.
Why do you think you're going to be able to get Zach LaVine for that?
I'll be listening to you. And you got a little hatred in you, man, on our New York team.
No. I'm talking about long term here. And what makes you think you're getting Zach LaVine for Ntilikina, Knox, and a first-round pick?
That could work.
No, it couldn't work. No, it couldn't work. You know why? Ntilikina stinks. I don't care what anybody's saying about the last couple of games. We've seen this flash in a pan crap before, and Kevin Knox can't get off the bench.
How about Rivers then? Throw Rivers in.
He can't get off the bench. Look, Ben, you're just throwing names up. Here is the classic, take my garbage. No, I shouldn't say garbage. People aren't garbage. Take my undesirable players and give me your desirable player.
First of all, let me tell you something. That guy Levine don't want to be in Chicago.
I understand that, but you still have to give them something in return that is commensurate.
Well, what would you prefer? What would you? We're not giving up Randall, so we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up. You're not going to give up all the pieces that we got right now. But we could use Levine, and Levine will pull us over the top.
Over the top? Define
top.
Over the top.
Get to a second round playoff run.
Yeah, that's not over the top. Second round playoff run meaning win a round. That's what you're saying.
Win 2 rounds.
Yeah, you're not winning 2 rounds when the team that you're going to face in the second round is either the Nets, the Sixers, or the Bucks. That's not happening. True?
Listen, we'll see.
No, we won't, because he won't be here for that trade. Thanks for the call. I almost don't want to thank you for the call, Ben. I mean, you weren't there the first time, and then I went around for that. You're better than that. I mean, maybe you're not. I don't know. That was a terrible, really bad and terrible idea. That's what it was. All of those things. Zach LaVine making $19.5 the next 2 years. Zach LaVine, who is a really, really, really good player. And you want to give him Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox. Oh, you know what? Let's throw in Rivers. Oh, my God. the ridiculous. See, I'm all for the good trade suggestion. When you're going to throw that at me for a 28 point per game scorer, I'm going to swat that away like the Dikembe Mutombo. By the way, they brought back that Mutombo Geico commercial the other day where he's running around the supermarket and the little kid holds up the cereal and he swats it away and waves the finger in his face. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm going to tell a brief story about that. We had a buddy, this guy, I played in a rec league in New York City about 10, 15 years ago with people from the other station. And one of them was a guy named Larry Fonseca, and Larry was hysterical. He's a great guy. Larry was he was close to 7 feet if he wasn't. But he was the nicest guy on the planet. And they had this friend, this guy named, I think his name was Rich. And he was really intense, he was our team captain. But it's like, we're in a rec league. But he was really super intense. And one of our games got canceled, so we decided to play just like a pickup game, go back and forth, but full court. And Rich is wearing a full North Carolina outfit, clearly taking it entirely too seriously. And I said to Larry, if you block one of his shots and then wave your finger and smile in his face, I'll give you $50. And that's a time where I didn't have $50 to give anybody. And he did block a shot, but he didn't wave the finger in his face. We all know those guys that take the rec league just way too seriously. And Larry swatted just be nice to see like the nicest guy on the planet who's got the greatest smile wave his finger. No. Eric in Painted Post is next, 98.7 ESPN. Eric, what's going on, dude? How are you?
Chris Carlin, it's such a pleasure to speak with you. This is the first time I've called in.
Well, I'd imagine it would be. How are you?
Yeah, nobody knows where Painted Post is when I say that. I'm 4.5 hours west of the Bronx. That's the easiest way that I can.
In New York? Where are you, in the southern tier?
Yep. I am in the southern tier, Steuben County. Yep, I'm Corning. Corning would be the one that probably people would recognize.
As in Corning glassware. Yes, absolutely.
Corning, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, you're right there on Route 15. Are you not?
I'm very close to Route 15. I'm just off of there.
See, I know my backwoods
15,
New York.
17, they all tie in together. I just went to Johnson City today to get my first vaccine shot.
Well, good.
Yep.
Glad to hear it. What's cooking with you?
I just wanted to kind of, well, first of all, you've been getting a lot of grief on some of the other shows. I don't think that's warranted. I think you deserve more time on some of them shows. You're a great.
Listen. Don't get it wrong, okay? On this station, we all bust each other's chops. That's just all in good fun. It's all good.
Well, it is. It is. Sometimes when it's. Do you want, on Friday, though, do you want to go, and I know most of you are married, have girlfriends, whatever, do you want to go to bed angry at night and not make up before that? And then now we got to wait 48 hours for Monday to come back along with some of the other people. And I know it's not like that. I know. I enjoy it. I've been watching.
I think you're reading a little too much into it.
But I kind of wanted to go into the Randall thing with you. Like, you're getting a lot. The previous gentleman that called with all the trades, like you're not getting nobody for that trade. Why not? You got to hear the offers, right?
Yeah.
And if you get one that's worth it, explore that. So,
this is the point. The Knicks are not winning a championship this year, and not for the long term. What's going on is great. Everybody should feel good about that. But if you can exploit that to help you for the long haul, Eric, and thanks for the call, that is really where you have to look legitimately. They are a team that shouldn't be considering anything but the big picture right now. Anything but. Medina, Brooklyn, next, 98.7 ESPN. Medina.
What's up, Carlin?
Oh, what do you got?
Hey, sorry to change the subject real quick. But how come the media is so hard on players trying to forcing their way out of an organization?
I think it depends on the player. Who are we talking about?
It doesn't matter, either player. Because, sorry to bring up another show, like Michael Kay and Don, these guys, they destroy these players.
Well,
I mean,
the one you're talking about
I just don't know
specifically.
why.
All right, now listen. Hang on, though. The one you're talking about specifically is James Harden. And I have a major.
James Harden.
Yeah. All right. So there are big differences for me. Okay. Deshaun Watson with the Texans, who, even though he just signed a long-term contract, I have no problem with him wanting to get out of there. I really don't.
Okay.
Where my problem comes in is when you're James Harden, you have, in the course of your time in Houston, had 3 other stars with you, and you haven't been able to make it work with any of them, so you ran them all out of town, and then ultimately when you wanted to get out, you dogged it. That's what happened. He dogged it. The effort level was not there for James Harden. You can't just do it the right way. I don't have a problem if you want to get out. Just do it the right way, because that's disrespecting the game.
I have a question, though. But do you know if he tried doing it the right way? Because this is the thing. I never hear anyone saying, well, he tried doing it. Because what I believe is this. I believe they did try the right way. I believe that James Harden did it the right way. He called his agent. He did everything the right way, because to me, I don't think he had any reason to do it the way.
But this wasn't going on. This whole thing was not like a 6-month-long process or a year-long process. This was over the span of a couple of months. And this was James Harden just looking at the situation in Brooklyn saying, I want to be there. I don't want to be here.
Yeah,
and they did it. They did what they want, what he wanted, which was Westbrook out of town. They brought in the guy he supposedly wanted to play with in John Wall, and then he still forced his way out. I don't have a problem with a guy forcing his way out if he goes about it without disrespecting the game. And to me, when you go on the court, Medina, when you go on the court and you're not trying, that's not right. That's it. That's it.
How do you know?
I saw it. Go and watch the games. Go and look at how sloppy he is with the passing. Go and look at everything that was going on. And basically, other NBA players have acknowledged. That's exactly what he was doing.
Listen, please. How do you know he didn't try to do it the right way?
I'm saying that was only. I'm sorry, Medina. No, I'm sorry. We're done with the call. The point is this: even if he tried to do it the right way and they were telling him no, it was over the span of a few weeks, like a month and a half, 2 months at the most. No. That's doing it in a way that completely disrespects the game, and to me, that's flat out garbage. I side with the player 95% of the time, because contracts are a two-way street. But a lot of times, like in the NFL, they're absolutely a one-way street. Teams able to cut players with not guaranteed money, all that stuff. Player trying to get as much as he possibly can when he can get it, do it. Absolutely do it. An NBA player wanting to get to some place where he thinks he has a better chance to win and he's tried to make it happen, by all means, do it. Don't quit on the game. James Harden quit on the Rockets. Just quit. I mean, even then, I would respect James Harden even more if he would have just said, I'm not playing until you trade me, than going on the floor and tanking it. And that is exactly what James Harden did. Little Yankee talk next. Meredith Marakovitz, Yes Network, joins us in moments.
It's Carlin.
I have what doctors call a little bit of a weight problem.
On 98.7 ESPN.
Welcome to a new era.
You got to read here.
Undefeated on ESPN Plus. This groundbreaking partnership will see the amplification of black voices and storytellers across the entirety of ESPN Plus, including our brand new series, Why Not Us? An all-access show focused on HBCU athletics and executive produced by the one and only CP3 Chris Paul. And yours truly. The Undefeated on ESPN Plus. Available right now.
Ah, yes. From the opening tip to the final buzzer, there are so many ways to bet on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Bet on the NBA on FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook app and an authorized gaming operator of the NBA. I like FanDuel Sportsbook because the app is simple to use. They offer live betting throughout games, provide promotions and odds boost daily, and have exclusive bet types such as same-game parlays where you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. Once you win, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Never try FanDuel Sportsbook? Sign up today. Place your first bet risk-free. They'll give you up to $1,000 back if you don't win. So let's just say, I don't know, James Harden. When the Nets are back in action, wouldn't you think it's a safe bet? If there's no Durant on the floor to maybe play the over on James Harden, I would think so. And you combine that with a little Nets over and bing, bang, boom, there you go. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Sign up with the promo code Carlin so they know Big Fella sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook promo code Carlin. Got to be 21 and older, present in New Jersey or Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. Site credit non-withdrawable. Expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Amazon is now hiring in the Avenel, Edison, and Somerset areas. We are looking for team members who know that their work is important and that every package matters. Find a job that fits your life with competitive wages, reliable hours.
Hey, so we have Meredith on next.
Boxing
You have the tape there ready to go?
Yep, I got it ready.
Different role and schedule. So are you ready to work together in your community? Visit
You know her from the Yes Network. She is down in Tampa with the Yankees, getting ready for 2021. Meredith Marakovitz joins us right now. She and the crew will be back on Sunday on the Yes Network. And Meredith, great to have you with us. First of all, I mean, the sun in the background is just absolutely killing us right now. And you don't look like you're sorry about that one bit.
I'm really not all that sorry. It's been two, three, 2, 3 weeks. The weather's been great. So not only can the Yankees train in a nice temperature, but also those that are down here to watch them, now that we know that fans are allowed back in the stands, also get to enjoy some of that Florida sunshine.
All right, we'll get to that in a little bit. First of all, storylines today. Domingo Germán, his first start back, obviously looked pretty sharp. What were your takeaways from what you saw?
I think you have to be pretty excited when you look at the way he threw the ball. Now, it's so early in spring training. You want to see him go out there continuously, make sure that his arm bounces back okay. But this is a guy that has not been on a mound really since 2019. He has not thrown to major league style hitters in a long time. So just the fact that he's going back out there, he looks strong on the mound. He got some swings and misses. I think the Yankees are fairly encouraged by all of that. But it's about building him up and then wondering how many innings realistically is Germán going to be able to give them this season? He has missed a lot of time. Yes, he threw in the Dominican Republic, but you don't know exactly how far that's going to take him. But when you look at that Yankees pitching staff, it's not just Germán who's probably going to have some type of an innings limit. There are a lot of guys coming off a 60-game season and then a couple others coming off of injuries where the Yankees and Matt Blake and Aaron Boone are going to have a lot of communication amongst the pitchers and with each other to really figure out what's the best game plan to keep these guys healthy when it matters most. And the Yankees are hoping that's October.
Okay, well, first of all, with the Germán stuff, I mean, the issues with the teammates, or issue when Zach Britton made his comment, that all seems to be behind them. From what you can gather, how much did Germán really have to get in front of that group and kind of explain everything that happened and really try to make amends with them for what happened?
Well, Chris, let me just kind of take you through the timeline as it happened down here in Tampa. Essentially, pitchers and catchers reported to camp, and there were some rumblings that Domingo Germán was going to address the media in a couple of days. Aaron Boone was asked about the Germán situation the first day of spring training when they did report. And he had mentioned that he had spoken to Germán not only when he came to camp, but also throughout the course of the offseason, as did Brian Cashman, to see exactly where Domingo Germán was, if he was putting in the work necessary to not only make himself a better man for his family, but a better teammate as well. And it seemed as though the Yankees were comfortable moving forward. And then Zach Britton addressed the media. He was asked about Domingo Germán, and he certainly did not mince words. He had certainly a feeling about what had happened regarding the domestic violence. And every player that we have spoken to, the first thing they would say is, we do not condone that by any stretch of the imagination. That's certainly wrong in any way, shape, and form. And Zach Britton himself said there's no place for that in the game or at all. And I think what happened then, as more was coming out from different teammates, Domingo Germán probably realized that it would be a good idea to really get in front of some of his teammates, whether it be individually or as a group. And that's exactly what he did. They answered questions. He addressed certain people individually. And I think it was a necessary step in trying to move forward. And I really think Luke Voigt said it best while saying he does not agree with any of that behavior. He believes in second chances. And now it's up to Domingo Germán really to prove that he's changed and he is working on himself. And Luke Voigt said, he's on thin ice right now. He cannot afford to make any more mistakes. And I think a lot of the clubhouse feels that way. They're willing to give him a second chance, but he has to prove that he's continuing to work on himself.
Okay, you mentioned earlier the idea of having to really monitor pitch counts and such with him. If the Yankees had their druthers, would he be in the rotation, and how will they, at least from what you can see, handle that moving forward?
Well, when I look at that Yankees rotation, we know Garrett Cole's going to be at the top of it, followed by, as long as these guys are healthy, Corey Kluber, Jamison Tyone, and then they're really high on Jordan Montgomery so far this spring. When I look at the fifth spot, I think it's between Domingo Germán and Davy Garcia. Davy Garcia is a guy that just seems unfazed on the mound for how young he is. He certainly continues to develop his pitches. They liked what they saw from him last year. And then there's Germán, who in 2019 won 18 games, and it would be hard to ignore that. So I think that battle right now is really between the two of them, and I think spring is going to be very telling as far as what direction they decide to go. But in talking to Brian Cashman and talking to Aaron Boone and even a little bit to Matt Blake, they almost see Herman and Luis Severino as one pitcher this season, because Herman probably is not going to be able to give them a tremendous amount of innings. You figure Severino is going to come back sometime end of June, beginning of July. So you almost look at them as a guy together combined that can give you an entire season.
Meredith Marakovitz with us, of course, from the Yes Network, and Jordan's aficionado. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. But Meredith, when you look at the overall construct of the bullpen right now, after Ottavino moves on, do you feel like the Yankees are comfortable with where it is at the moment?
I think they are. I think they feel pretty good with a lot of the offseason moves they made. What's going to be very interesting to me, and it all kind of ties into innings limits and how they use guys, who is the fifth starter. Aaron Boone said very early on, what our rotation looks like opening day, it may not look like that a month or two later. And I think a lot of these guys that can give multiple innings, or even guys like Davy Garcia, you may see them start this season in the bullpen and then eventually make spot starts here or there. So I think overall, you look at the fact that you have Britton back, you have Chapman back, you have the addition of Justin Wilson, Darren O'Day, a lot of guys that can give you meaningful innings. So I think, and Jonathan Loizaga spoke today, and he said, based on my opinion, and I realize it is just my opinion, I think we have the best bullpen in the league. That remains to be seen, but I know there is a lot of confidence when it comes to that bullpen, especially the back end.
With Kluber, Meredith, and you were talking about pitch counts earlier, this is a guy that threw 1 inning last year, 30-some innings over the last 2 years. Is that going to be a hard and fast number? Do you expect there to be a number that's going to be lower than certainly you would want out of your number 2 starter?
I think that's a very real possibility, and they're going to need to find ways to get creative at times to give him an extra day and make sure, more than anything, that the communication is there. Corey Kluber needs to be very honest about the way that he's feeling, and the Yankees need to check in with him maybe more than they would with some other players, knowing what he's gone through over the last 2 years. But I think being a veteran player, you worry about that a little bit less, in the sense that he should know his body, he should know how he's feeling. But I think there are a lot of these guys that, especially early on in the season, you're going to see the Yankees getting creative, maybe having a bullpen day, maybe inserting a spot starter to give the rotation as a whole an extra day to try to limit innings in that way, because they know guys like Kluber, if healthy, can dominate in the league. They want him in that rotation when the postseason comes around. They don't want to burn him out in April and May and June and not have him for the second half. So that's going to be one of the biggest tasks for this staff this year, and trying to figure out how they are going to manage these guys. And yes, they have some that are coming off of injury, but this is a league-wide issue coming off a 60-game season. Just how far do you push, and just how far do you push, especially early on?
How often are you hearing Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton use the word namaste after their off-season full of yoga?
Namaste to you, my friend. No, you know what? So much has been made about that. And it was actually an interview that I did for our Yankees Hot Stove show on the Yes Network, where I spoke to Eric Cressy, and he said how they kind of switched up their off-season routines a little bit. He had mentioned that they were doing less lifting, more yoga, more things that were dealing with mobility, instead of doing the traditional heavy lifting of the weights. Now, I checked in with both Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, and they said that yoga has always been a little bit of a part of their off-season routine. What they've done more this year, more than any other year, have been incorporating more medicine ball exercises and workouts, really getting that core strength there and making sure that they're duplicating as much as they can, or kind of replicating some similar body motions to what they would have to do quickly on the field, as opposed to doing those traditional lifts like bench pressing, like squats, that don't necessarily help you from a speed and agility standpoint. Yes, they make you stronger, but you need to be flexible. You need to make sure that you can stay loose, and that you can, hopefully in their cases, stay on the field this year.
Yeah, it's easy enough to think, Meredith, but if you ask Brian Cashman, and he's being completely honest, is health just his number one concern all the way around right now?
I think it has to be. And I think you look at a roster and you can always have more depth. You can always say, I'd like 5 more pitchers, right? But it's not Christmas morning and you don't always get what you want under the tree. I think for the most part, they feel pretty good with where they're at with a mix of veteran guys and some youth that could maybe surprise you throughout the course of the season. But I think when you look at this team, really the last 3 seasons, they have been so plagued by injuries, especially to some major names, that if they could get through a season even relatively healthy compared to what's going on the last 2 years, they would be ecstatic by that fact. So I think health is a big thing. This is another year that they were dealing with Eric Cressy, his programs, his new approach in the offseason. They believe that's going to pay high dividends. Whether or not it will, well, that remains to be seen.
You know, you talked to him, but they have really put a lot of stock in him, from Corey Kluber to everything else. They are putting a lot of eggs in the basket of a trainer, and I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing to do, but it's seemingly a lot of pressure for a guy in that position.
Yeah, but he's had a lot of baseball and professional athlete clients for a very long time, and there are reasons why some of the elite players in the game continue to go to him. They really liked his philosophy and his approach. It's all individualized programs, really setting baselines, going back to spring training of last year to figure out where guys were, where they need to be, and what they need to do to get themselves there. And it's a lot of advanced kind of measuring of certain things that maybe, Chris, you and I in our workout routines probably wouldn't think about. But Eric Cressy knows a little bit more about how to train a baseball player than we probably do. So they are leaning on him in a big way. And all the player reviews so far have been very encouraging. They've liked the programs that they have been on. They feel as though they've been beneficial. But again, proof is in the pudding. Can they stay on the field?
That's so polite of you to suggest I have a routine to begin with. I appreciate that very much. Meredith Marakovitz with us. 2 more here. Number 1, and I barely mentioned it because he's really not even seemingly all that worried about it. You talked to Aaron Boone today, and all seems right. Pacemaker seems fine, and it sounds like he could be back over the weekend.
It sounded like he wanted to be back today, but he has to go through the entire COVID protocol again. So they wouldn't let him in the ballpark. He made it as far as the parking lot to get his rapid test and then had to go back home. But he actually FaceTimed Brian Cashman like an hour or 2 after the procedure and was like, "Hey buddy, what's up? How you doing?" And Brian Cashman was like, "How are you doing? You just had like a heart surgery, a heart procedure." And he's like, "I'm great. I feel like $1 million." And you could tell he had a ton of energy. He was excited. He was feeling well. And he said some of the symptoms that he was suffering from leading up to this is just kind of extreme fatigue. He'd do exercises that he had done in the past and he would just be tired from them. He didn't quite feel right. So it seems as though this was something that was something he needed to get done eventually, decided to get it done now before anything got any worse. And he doesn't think there'll be any restrictions when he comes back. He was asked kind of jokingly, do you have to worry about your stress? You know, you're a major league manager. That's not exactly a stress-free job, Aaron. But he said, no, there's really nothing like that I need to be overly concerned with. That's what the pacemaker's for. It's not going to let me get too high. It's not going to let me get too low. So we wish him well. We're looking forward to seeing him back in the dugout, but it seems as though he's doing pretty well right now.
All right. For those who follow Meredith on Instagram, you know that she is a Jordan aficionado, and I think that's putting it lightly. How many pairs, Meredith, of Jordans do you
own? Ooh, not as many as Clint Frazier and a lot of other. I know CC Sabathia has an unbelievable collection as well, but I have too many. It's a lot. I have more Jordans than I have heels. That's probably a problem. But they're comfortable. They look cool. I enjoy them. You know, you gotta find something you enjoy in life, and I love my Jays. So
yes, absolutely, and they're tremendous. And I texted you a few weeks ago to ask where to get them, and I appreciate the advice of the best place to get them. But I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, I got to lay out some serious cash here if I'm gonna get caught up on this. And I'm not casting aspersions on any choices, by the way.
No. See, I'm not doing the crazy stuff where you're paying like $500 to like $2,500
yeah.
for a pair. Like that's not what I do, but I get on them early, right when they're released, and try to get some of the newer ones that are coming out. Every now and again, you splurge for a pair that you find on a secondary site website that resells new shoes. So I get excited about some of those sometimes. But you know what? I am just waiting for the day when Jordan Brand decides that they want to start repping lowly sideline reporters. That would make my year, Chris. That would make my year.
Listen, I'm sure it'll be right around the time when they start doing it with overweight, balding talk show hosts. Same time. You want. It's Carlin on 98.7 ESPN.
There's never been a better time to find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Right now, new customers have a chance to win $100 in free bets when they place a $1 wager on Israel Adesanya to win against Jan Blachowicz in their fight March 6th. Just use bonus code DON100 when you make your first bet.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
I forgot to tell you in your ear, we could have went a little longer, but I'll just add a little time here. I combined the last two breaks.
BetMGM.com and use bonus code DON100 to win $100 in free bets if Adesanya defeats
So you're taking this to the
Blachowicz.
top?
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that. Let me. Can you have me squeeze in for a minute or two?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, do that, and
New
then
customer
take
offer,
the other one to
paid
the
in
top.
free bets.
Because I don't want to. I didn't mean to do that.
BetMGM.com for questions. Must be 21 or
You're good, man.
You're
You're good.
only gambling problem.
We did last, when was it? I can't even remember the day. Wednesday.
Hey, it's Michael K. Tune in for my show Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com today. See how much you could save.
Introducing Money Dots, a new game from the New York Lottery. Only $1 to play. And if you match with a dot, you win money. It's that simple.
2 minutes.
If you've won, just check in store or watch the Quick Draw Live show on our mobile app. Money Dots from the New York Lottery. Look for it where Quick Draw is played. Must be 18 years or older to purchase a lottery ticket. You must be 21 years or older to purchase a Quick Draw ticket where alcoholic beverages are served. Please play responsibly.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all areas. If you're a small business owner, things may have gotten tougher lately. You're probably looking for savings wherever you can find them. So you may be surprised to hear that most small businesses overpay for workers' compensation insurance. Many insurance companies just aren't set up to give small businesses the savings they deserve. But Pi Insurance was created to change that. We serve small businesses exclusively, and we can save you up to 30%. You owe it to yourself to find out if you're overpaying. Just get a quote right now from your computer or smartphone at trypi.com. Pi Insurance is a no-brainer with our simple online experience and outstanding service. We are rated excellent on Trustpilot by our customers, who tell us Pi is fast, affordable, and easy to work with. As easy as pie, in fact. Savings matter now more than ever. Isn't it worth taking 3 minutes to find out if you're overpaying for workers' comp? Ask your insurance agent for Pi Insurance or get a quote today at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
Fitness will always be about keeping a routine. And the best routines in life will always make time for enjoying yourself. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy
30 seconds.
Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. They say, trust the process. But if enjoyment isn't part of that process, don't trust the process. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
It's almost time for the NBA All-Star break, March 8th through the 10th. Kick your game into gear while the pros are resting. Sign up now for the free Junior Knicks Virtual Skills Academy presented by PM Pediatrics. Details at knicks.com/skills academy.
Let's squeeze one in here. Theo and Bethpage has been waiting. Very patient. Theo, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Chris, thank you very much for taking my call. Love your show.
Thanks for hanging in.
I wanted to talk about, the Knicks and kind of like the Jets at the same time. I heard the call of Ben from before trying to, propose trades with the undesirables for Zach LaVine. And, isn't this what has failed both of these organizations for the last decade or so? I mean, you finally have And in the Knicks sense, you obviously you're having some success. It's only been a half a season. You're establishing a base. You're establishing a system that's working. And instead of taking all of your assets and just disposing them to bring someone in who to bring you over the top anyway, why not just build the organizations to a point where some of the higher price free agents are going to want to come here in free agency?
Well, I think we're starting to get the sense that that might be happening sooner than we thought.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, look at the Jets now, okay? The Jets, I mean, I couldn't be happier with, the change of regime. And I think we can all agree that, we're excited about the coaching staff that's coming in. Robert Saleh is a very highly respected and, liked coach with all the players. And I'm sure, I mean, obviously there's only one way to go with the Jets is up. I'm sure they're going to do better. And when they do that, and when they establish not even a winning culture, just a chemistry, a system that people start to believe in, that's what attracts free agents.
Well, but listen, and that's the thing. In the NFL, it's a little bit different. Thanks for the call. Just because of the guaranteed versus non-guaranteed money, you're more likely to see players come to a situation that may not be great because they're getting more money and they're getting more guaranteed money. You're a lot more likely to see that in the NFL. In the NBA, it has become much more about what you're talking about. All the culture, all that kind of stuff. Exceptionally important because everybody has the money to spend and you're pretty much on a level playing field when it comes to what you're going to get. One team is not going to hand you $25 million more than another. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.